let me make sure I'm still on task. The dilemma is that there's a gap. So this may be true, and it may be true based on how we were created, but it may be not something that we live out or that we actually recognize, right? Even here in this room, because we can get caught up in really resubmitting to a viewpoint that work is a necessary evil. Work is something that I simply do to acquire economic benefits to live the rest of my life somewhere else. So we all are prone to that. And in fact, there's an entire world, society at large, that invisibly live off that particular viewpoint, whether they're completely cognizant or aware of it. And so that gap is where the project that I have committed to piloting this summer fills or bridges that gap and reconnects us to this original call, this original design. This is one way to look at it in terms of that idea that I just expressed. We often look at the circle of life, or what it means to live in the human experience, where family, friends, church, again, synagogue, whatever, the idea of a greater purpose is how you're living life, your passion, your hobbies, your leisure. All of those things are where life is lived. And yes, work exists, but work isn't necessarily excluded or included in the core identity. It's often off to the side as a necessary evil, or again, lets me go live life after. Right? So it's, a simple visual, but here's the idea. That simple visual often is what holds our viewpoint and assumptions of how we're living life, so that we simply look at this as a tool to get to live other things that are more important, instead of actually looking at it as we just reflected in that ancient text in Genesis, as the circle of life includes work as core to life calling and to serve the greater good. And each of those other spheres of life actually emerge in a more powerful way when we see work as integral of what it means to live the human experience, what it means to live in human community, what it means to build societies, what it means to actually see the elevation of society, improve people's lives all around us. All of that happens when we take work as a significant component of what God is doing in the world, in and through us, because he designed us that way. This is what we need to do to recover, really, the idea that we can go to work and you and I can change the world of work in a way where it's more beautiful, more dignified, and where human flourishing takes place in a more powerful way, and where lives are actually changed for the good and through the power of love by going to work. Not for waiting until after work, but by the inside role of work and what we give to it. If it's central to the core of who we are as a person, and if you're a person of faith and you're translating that, then that's what you should bring to the world of work, because that's where the most powerful human experience can happen. The most challenging, the area where we strive, where we can actually sacrifice the most, give the most. Those are things are what happen in terms of being fully human. And as I say down here, again, work is good, work is spiritual. Maybe you've heard the concept that work is worship. It's an expression of worship. Work is renewing, work is natural, and it gets us back to the mission of recovering what it means to be fully human and fully alive. With me so far? I'm trying to format it into a picture that allows you to see, okay, if that's the case, then why does work seem to be so draining, or undermines our ambitions, or takes from us in a way that then we're not fully present in our other spheres of life? Well, there are challenges to that, and there's conversation for another day again about those things. But I think part of it is we have to recognize and give energy to reclaiming that understanding of how we've been created for work, and we bring all that we are in terms of what it means to be human, and if we're a person of faith, the qualities of faith and life into the workplace in terms of what we do. So, how do we prepare people to live like that before they even start work. Let's put them in an environment where they can actually make that happen. Put them in an environment that prepares them specifically to see the world through a new lens, and that lens where work is honored, work is good, work is not the ultimate idol to worship, no, but that it's honored and it's accepted as part of the calling of life, and that it should be pursued with vigor, understanding, ambition, and desire to actually change the lives of the people around me and myself as I develop into a fully human person. Now, to do that, a pilot project that I've been incubating on for several years and has now finally come to light in a partnership where we're planning on developing this project where soon-to-be college graduates will spend an entire summer in what I call a marketplace as mission immersion project. So the idea is that they're going to spend, as a group of 25 to 30 students, they will actually be in a residential facility living together in the East Bay. And in that setting, there will be a curriculum, an internship experience, an impact on mentors, leaders, and others, to where at the end of that 8-week experience, they will begin to see the world as I've just described it, as a place where then work is a calling, that they don't, the very workplace that they spend time will be a unique part of God's plan in their life, and in that they can discover all that God intends for their life, and helping coach them in understanding that reality. The project is going to be piloted with a group called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. Anybody aware of that group or familiar with that group? Okay, I'm going to give you a visual of what this looks like, and then we can just do some Q&A. Let me see how we're good. So this is to help make sense of what I'm about to describe. So I don't know, can you actually read it from where you are?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, all right. If the back crowd can, then we're in good shape. The name I'm giving it now, at this point, is the Marketplace Initiative. Marketplace Initiative Pilot Project. So this is essentially going to be a collaboration between myself, the Vocari Network, if you will, and InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. And so we are co-piloting this project for a particular reason. One is that we can bring a network that allows them to have this kind of experience because of people like you that are in this room, and again, way beyond this throughout the Bay Area. And then they can bring college students. So simply stated, that's the idea. It happens, it just so happens that InterVarsity at national level has just mandated a new kind of what they call discipleship program that has been rolled out over the last year. One critical component to that is a new commitment and understanding and development of vocational discipleship. So they, as we began to talk about this at the national level, so the national director and I have been talking for about 2 years on this project just informally. He realized that this is part of their new mandate, and this allows them, if you will, from their perspective, to get a quick win in piloting the project in something they couldn't launch on their own, but they could in this kind of unique partnership. So it's the same reverse for me. It's okay. I think in terms of the resources, the ideology, and the ability to build a curriculum and an experience through a summer course, summer experience for the necessary internships, the mentor relationships, the instruction, if you will, and the learnings within that, we can provide that. But taking the time to actually find the college students, recruit them, get them to apply, get them placed and all that, unless there's other people like me, most of us are doing 50 hours a week, right? I know, I'm maybe a wimp. I know there's many of you that do 60, but the idea is that they bring that component in, and then we provide the resources for, again, a beautiful partnership to see this actually take place. So that's what I'm trying to visualize here. So coming together, InterVarsity, Becky happens to be the person on the university side that will commit to co-leading this project together. So that's the connection. As we bring that together, the summer immersion project takes place. It'll be in a residential setting, as I explained. Marketplace's mission, curriculum, internships, mentors, leaders, on-site staff, setting the vision of the importance of this. That's kind of how things will run through in the project. And then this is just to visualize, okay, the things that we'll provide for marketplace, mentors, the internships, leaders, coaching, with the outcome of this idea of work as a servant-based calling. And that's a particular matrix that we would teach over the summer. A couple of phrases just to kind of touch your curiosity. One would be, again, a servant-based matrix versus a success-based matrix, and helping understand what that means. When we look through the lens of the scriptures, which we'll use, and then many of other things that we'll use that are just marketplace tools, helping them understand that we're actually designed to go to work through a servant-based matrix versus a success-based matrix. And that allows you to then live in an identity that's rooted in how you were originally designed. There's a lot of other things that we'll create in that, but that's a critical piece. Another thing that you can think about is that helping them develop what's called a kingdom career plan. So kingdom, as it relates through, again, the ancient texts of the Old Testament and the New Testament, there's a whole idea around that. And so how do you fit in what we call a career plan that fits into this idea of a kingdom, a world that God created, and how do you activate that and develop that inside the workplace as you go to work? So as we partner in this, the idea is to see, okay, can we have a transformative experience that allows us to then create this new kind of life in the workplace? As Jesse said in the email that we sent out, it's the quadruple bottom line, right? And some of that has maybe some unnecessary connection to the environmental movement, but I like it because it's 4 Ps. It's easy to remember: people, planet, profit, with a purpose, right? So if people are understanding what it means to go to work, it has to do with people. It does have to do with profit. The nature of subduing and ruling the earth is to build wealth creation that then creates the ability to fill the earth and to have a sustainable, flourishing human community everywhere in the world. Again, those are the things in the quadruple bottom line helps us understand that when it's rooted into an eternal purpose that can be understood here on earth. So the idea is to be able to create that transformative experience, and if God so wills, that this really helps people see the world in a way that maybe none of us did when we were 21, 22, 23 entering the workforce. And that maybe we were never instructed on it, even if we're all people that had a spiritual background, a spiritual community that instructed us but never gave us that kind of input in that setting. This is where it activates in the gap of closing that gap and helping us see and really raise a generation of people that are changing the world of work for the good and for the sake of, again, the sake of the gospel that's been given to us through the person of Jesus.